What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite dating coach, Elliot Scott, and as you can see right here, I have another question from the Ask FM, and in this question we're going to talk about a girl who got screwed over. She found out she was the other woman, and she wants to know how to cope and act around the guy without it being bitter, okay? Even though she knows she was disrespected. So, as you can see, that this is kind of a bullshit topic. The girl, I mean, not topic, it's a serious topic, but the girl got bullshit, you know, she got screwed over big time. Not only did the guy cheat on his girlfriend, but he led this girl on, which is unbelievable. 100% wrong, 120% wrong. It should not have happened, okay? And here's what I would do with the situation. There's two ways you can go about this. And I have one way in my head, but there's two ways you can go about it. You can go about it the Zen way, okay? I'm a better person, you know, success is where, I come out on top, and, you know, all that kind of stuff, blah, 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 you know, all that stuff they say, okay? It's the past. I'm only upset because it's my ego, all those kind of things. However, here's the thing. You know, I want you to go down that actual ego route, okay? The fact that you did get hurt and that you do want him to know that it was a problem, that it was wrong and things like that, because he needs to know what he did was 120% wrong. And the reason for that is not actually so much you and him, but it's just social standards. You know, it's because of how society is and how the male mind is, okay? Society is built on order, and that's to prevent chaos. What he did was complete chaos. It was not taboo, but you know what I mean. It's completely wrong what he did, and he needs to know that it was wrong. And letting him off the hook and not being like, here's the thing, why not be bitter? Why not show you're disrespected? What he did was 100% wrong. He doesn't care for you. He doesn't care for the other girl. He's all about his needs and his ego. So fuck that guy. I would actually get in his face and tell him what's up and why he did what he did was completely 120% wrong. Make him feel like a fucking piece of shit, because that's what he is, okay? And I would even bring the other girl in. I'm not saying you two confront him, but I would let her know. Again, what benefit do you have not acting bitter, not acting like this bothers you? There's no benefit. This guy's a piece of shit, and this girl needs to know too, don't you think? But here's the main reason I want you to actually do something about it. Fuck him. It has nothing to do with him, okay? It has more to do with you and how your brain works. If you just let it go and say, this is nothing, this will pass, this, you know, go the Zen route, that's fine on a very conscious level, but your brain's going to pick up on that behavior, and it's going to make it think it's okay. A great example, and that is, I mean, this is with everything, good or bad. Let's say you were scared of going in haunted houses, and then, you know, every time you go into a haunted house, you end up coming out obviously on the other end alive and unthreatened, because they're not supposed to touch you, but you know, whatever. You know, you come out okay, and your brain picks that up. Your brain picks that up and it says, look, there's nothing wrong with the haunted house, and it stores all that in the memory bank. An autopilot, it goes into autopilot and remembers all those kind of things, so it knows next time, does it have to go through all this stress and all this bullshit? It already knows, hey, look, haunted house, been through it 100 times, you're okay. The same thing is going to happen with this guy in this situation. If you let this go and act like it's nothing, sure, you'll be okay next week, but the damage it's going to do to your self-esteem and your insecurities, your red flags are going to come, all types of things are going to happen in the long run, in the long term, because your brain's thinking, oh, we'll just let this go because nothing's going to happen a week later, because nothing really is going to happen. I mean, you're not going to be in the threat, but mentally you're in the red, right? You're in the red zone. It's not good. Something's happening, and you need to cut that cord. You need to cut that cycle off as soon as possible. So I would say something to him for more, not for him, not for the other girl, but for self-respect. If you don't cut that cord or that way of thinking that I'm just gonna let it go, that was just a bullshit guy. Fuck him. I'll let it go, and I'll go find another guy and be happy later on down the road. No. That's not okay. because your brain's still thinking that what he did was, I mean, you might think again consciously that it was wrong, but the fact that you didn't do anything about it says a lot about your self-esteem, your confidence. Okay, you need to stand up for yourself right there and say, dude, what you did was wrong. What you did to her was wrong. I want an apology. And don't do it over text. Don't do it over phone. Get right in his face and say it. Okay, because what he did was 120% wrong. And you need to break that cycle. Hey, it's not about making him feel bad, right? I mean, he's gonna feel a little like, holy shit, what just happened? I don't believe I was confronted about it. But it's not about making him feel bad. It's more about breaking that cycle of your, in your head. Okay, you have to break that cycle. If your brain thinks it's okay that he did what he did, or that he did what he did was okay, then you're screwed. Okay, you have to cut that and have a little self-respect and say, dude, fuck you. What you did was wrong. I want an apology. Okay, so that's what I would do. In my opinion, the Zen route will not work in this area. I usually tell women, as you can see by a lot of my videos, I always tell them, no, let it go, let it go, let it go. But that's never with being mistreated or disrespected. That's more small issues, like he didn't take out the trash when he said he was going to. You need to let him know that, hey, dude, you said you're going to take out the trash, but don't fucking flip out over it, okay? In this case, though, if a woman ever feels disrespected or mistreated or anything like that, then you need to let a guy know. If he crosses the line when you didn't want him to, you need to let him know. In this case, you need to tell him, so your brain and that cycle snaps, and you don't get into the bad habit of letting these men do these things to you. Okay, so with that being said, I love you. Take care. I'm very sorry that happened. That sucks, but yeah, you got to break that cycle, baby.